Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Dk Nur Amirah, binti Pg Abd Aziz, 21LL016 from the Dipuli program. This is a chapter review of the book by Dale Carnegie on how to be a leader and influence people to change without giving offense or arousing resentment. This chapter talks about the sixth principle of how to change people without offending them, and that is by praising the slightest improvement and praising every improvement. This chapter tells us about the kinds of praise that we should give, when to give them, and illustrated his points using stories of the past and his own experience. The author started with a story, which is a good thing because it captures the attention of readers, and he used stories as a way to demonstrate evidence of the effectiveness of this principle. And another thing is he used layman terms that are easy to understand even for non-native speaker. And I find this book easy to follow because it's very relatable, and the way he ended this chapter was pretty empowering. He quoted psychologist Jess there in his chapter. Praise is like sunlight to the warm human spirit. We cannot flower and grow without it, and yet while most of us are only too ready to apply to others the cold wind of criticism, we are somehow reluctant to give our fellow the warm sunshine of praise. Is this true? Do we really criticize people more than we should praise them? Think about it. So back to the principle. How does praise lead to change? We have to keep in mind that everyone loves being appreciated and recognized. By praising people, even at the smallest accomplishment, we are inspiring them to keep on improving. But praises need to be sincere. We have to really think about what to praise so it does not sound like flattery, because nobody wants insincerity or flattery. One of the stories the author made mention of was about John Ringlespaugh, who advised parents of misbehaving children to use praise instead of harping on their children's faults. After a few days of using praise, even at the slightest improvement, they saw remarkable change in their children in that they no longer do things that upset their parents. This shows us that condemning someone for the wrong that they did would not help them to be the better person that we want them to be. So, the take-home message from this chapter is understanding that in order to be a successful leader, we have to inspire people to transform, not force them. And we could do this by giving them praise instead of criticism, even if it's hard to find good things to praise. Show our appreciation and recognition to the hard work that they have put in. The strength of this chapter is its relevance to our daily lives and how we can apply this principle not just in our work, but also in our family and so on. However, the author only used anecdotal evidence and did not include numbers to be objective, so some people might be thrown off or skeptical with his findings. But in my opinion, the principle that he had shared stood the test of time and is still very relevant to us even after more than 50 years since this book was published. To conclude, to become a successful leader that can influence people, we have to praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. Inshallah, we can change people without forcing them to change. That's all for me. Thank you very much for listening. Assalamu alaikum.